It's here, guys. No Man's Sky is finally releasing, and it's releasing this week on a Tuesday, on the 9th, but only for those of you who bought it for PlayStation. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people, and I've got it for PC, so I'm going to have to wait until the 12th. Hey guys, I'm Morphologist, and I'm one of those people who's going to have to listen to their friends who have PlayStation talk on and on and on about how great No Man's Sky is while I have to wait. Unless I punch them in the face or I go buy a PlayStation for myself, which I will not do. Sorry, Sony, that business model ain't gonna work on me. So that leaves me to punching. So please, if you've got a PlayStation, don't talk to me. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm not advocating violence. I am, however, advocating some caution before hitting that pre-purchase button. This isn't because I believe the game is sure to fall short of expectations. Rather, I caution you because the information we have thus far has been limited to sponsored videos and advertisements, and not objective reviews that provoke thoughtful discussion. I don't have access to the game yet, I'll admit, so this isn't a review and I don't want you to look for one in this video. Rather, the point of this video is to coherently bring together some information that we know so far so that you can make a better purchase decision, but also to share my own opinion on the game based on what we know so far. So let's talk about what we know so far about No Man's Sky by starting with the basics, what it is. No Man's Sky is an exploration and survival game in an infinite procedurally generated universe, to really give you the summary spiel that you could read off the website. But what you might not know is that there have been some patch notes released very recently on the website by Sean Murray, who is the head developer over at HelloGames who's developing No Man's Sky. And in those notes, there are some very interesting things which sort of hint at what we can expect on the release date for both the 9th for PlayStation and the 12th again for PC. One of the burning questions that a lot of people have had is if No Man's Sky is actually multiplayer, because the responses by the developers have been somewhat vague. They've said that yes, it's multiplayer, however, it is very unlikely that you would ever run into another player because of the size of the universe. But what's giving me hope is that in these patch notes, there is a bullet point that says networking. And the description of that update is that you now have the ability to scan star systems other players have discovered on the galactic map, which is supposedly increasing the chance of collision. They don't say what collision is, but I think it's hinting towards actual player contact. And with this new system, you may actually be able to find people, which is mitigating the issue of the size of the universe, when you can specifically target areas where players are more likely to be. Furthermore, in a recent interview with Sean Murray done by PC Gamer, Sean stated that there's a local bubble that travels along with players through the universe. When that bubble intersects with a system that another player is currently inhabiting, those two players are connected and there's a chance that those two could actually interact. However, he also stated that, unfortunately as it is, there is no way to differentiate between AI and characters. So you may fly right past this person, not even knowing that it's a real human being. Finally, there's been some talk of an in-game friends list. Now, why would they talk about this, considering that both Steam and PlayStation both have their own independent friends list system? Well, what I think this is supposed to suggest is that they may be considering ways that players may actually cooperatively play through No Man's Sky. Though this part is speculation. The part that we know is that friends lists may be making an appearance soon in an upcoming update. Not a release, but soon. And that really tells me that the developers have been listening to the community and that they are considering ways to make No Man's Sky a little bit more friendly to those who want to play the game as a multiplayer game. To be fair though, there are a fair amount of players who are perfectly fine playing the game by themselves solo. And I believe that nothing's really going to change for those players. There's not going to be tons of griefers, and there's going to be ways to avoid people because of the size of the universe. But there are still a lot of people, including myself, which really think the idea of cooperatively playing No Man's Sky through this infinite universe is a really compelling idea. And I personally believe that it would be much more fun for me to be able to play with somebody else should I choose. But let's move on now. There are some other bits inside these patch notes that are also very interesting, such as the bit that talks about planets. Apparently they've added dead moons and low atmosphere and extreme hazardous planets, which adds a bit to the diversity of what you can discover, and I believe adds a bit more value to discovering planets with life on it, because what we know so far about the universe is that not every planet is capable of supporting life. And if every planet does have life in No Man's Sky, it really sort of devalues that experience. You become more desensitized to those discoveries, and it becomes a less enjoyable game overall. That being said, it would also be really cool to see things like gas giants, planets that we can't actually land on, but perhaps our ships could be crushed in because of the massive pressure of the atmosphere. That would be pretty cool. Or planets like Bespin from Star Wars, where there are like low floating cities above the clouds. That's a really cool thing. I'd love to see that sort of environment, because we haven't seen that in other games yet, and that would be something very unique to No Man's Sky. A lot of the other bits in the patch notes are really quality of life updates, and balancing and adding of additional content, trading systems are now improved, and so on and so forth. But it's really hard to judge the game when we have no basis to judge it on. I've not actually played the game. But it is available for pre-purchase, and thus we must have this kind of conversation. Otherwise, you're buying a game based on information that is purely advertisement, paid for by the developer, which is inherently biased, whether they are good-hearted or bad-hearted. And you may argue that you don't have to pre-purchase a game. You could very well wait until it comes out and read some reviews. However, I will point out to many people that a lot of games, including No Man's Sky, incentivize you pre-purchasing it by offering certain items which are exclusive to those who pre-purchase. And I therefore once again assert that we must have these kinds of conversations. Otherwise, people are just gonna buy games based on biased information, and of course they're gonna talk about the game being great, when in fact, it's not. I'm looking at you, Battlefront. And thus we've arrived at the interesting part of the video where I give you my opinion on what we know so far about No Man's Sky, and hopefully help you make a better purchase decision by either curbing your expectations or hyping it up even further. So let's talk about the first thing that comes to mind, and that's procedural generation. Now, this has been a hotly debated subject because it conjures up images of games like Spore and Grav, which by all accounts have failed miserably because their procedural generation algorithms did not live up to expectations. But what often happens in these conversations is people say that the algorithms just were not good enough. But I don't think that that really is the issue. The issue really is the human psyche and the way we value things. Unfortunately, as it is right now, we just place more value, subconsciously or consciously, on things that have been crafted by real human beings. And that's because we know that things that have been crafted by artists are done intentionally, with reason and logic behind them, whereas computers are much more process-based and don't have a consciousness, and therefore creativity subjectively does not exist. A perfectly reasonable rebuttal to that, though, would be that mathematicians are creative, and therefore the algorithms that they create could also have creativity built in. But I don't think that that's enough, because human beings are still the most creative devices in the universe, as far as we know. We haven't discovered any aliens yet, or been able to create AI, so we are the best right now that we have, and there's nothing that can replace that unless we are able to create AI. And therefore, games like No Man's Sky, which rely on procedural generation, are doomed to fail if they only rely on computers to generate their content. Now, let's be clear here. No Man's Sky isn't pure procedural generation. They essentially designed all the Lego pieces, if you will, and the algorithm assembles them. So an engine pod or a cockpit or the internals of your cockpit even, those are designed by a real artist. However, it is up to the game to put them together in a new configuration, and thus we have a new thing. But what I'm calling into question here is if that's enough to keep you interested in playing No Man's Sky. I don't know, but I hope it is, and I'm excited to find out for myself. I'm still also very concerned about the multiplayer aspect of No Man's Sky. Although earlier in this video, facts seem to suggest that they are considering multiplayer as an option in No Man's Sky, they have stated much earlier in the development process that they wanted us to think about No Man's Sky as a single-player game with some multiplayer elements and not an MMO. And therefore, I don't think you should purchase the game under the presumption that No Man's Sky will ever be a game that you can play with your friends. Rather, based on what we know so far, it could just be an experience that you can talk about with your friends and maybe share via video or streaming. So if you're going to buy the game under the presumption or the hope that multiplayer will be added at some point in some shape or form, more than just the possibility of a chance encounter, then that's a bad reason to buy No Man's Sky. Examine it like this. If the game remains the way it's been advertised for the entirety of its life, Will it be something that you think is worth $60? If your answer is no, then don't buy the game. Just plain and simple. And for those of you who are perfectly comfortable playing No Man's Sky as a single-player experience with some multiplayer elements, consider this. How many games are we talking about a year on that are single-player? Not many. Multiplayer elements bring replayability to a game, which ensures survival for a long time and really makes that $60 go a long way. And I really hope that there's something in No Man's Sky that allows us to continually come back for more. I don't think content is the answer. Rather, I think it's social interaction. We're social creatures, have been for thousands of years, and probably will be for many thousands more. But I digress, and I concede the fact that I am very biased towards multiplayer games, and this is plainly not an MMO, and is not intended to be a completely multiplayer game, and therefore should not be considered as such. I just wanted to bring these facts to light, because a lot of you share my opinion and share my worries, and I wanted you to know this before you press that purchase button. And this video has been somewhat pessimistic, and I don't want you to feel that I'm a pessimist. I have really high hopes for this game. I want it to succeed. I want to keep talking about it a year on. But let's be honest here, we've heard a lot of great things about the game and not a lot of negatives, and that's what this video is meant to do, show you some of the negatives. So sorry for the pessimism, but I am very hopeful for this game, and I have pre-purchased it. In fact, I'll be streaming it next weekend. Also, I want to apologize to you guys. For those of you who have watched my No Man's Sky and what it means for space engineers, I had stated some incorrect facts in that video, and I sincerely hope that it did not detrimentally affect your opinion of me or your opinion of the game. That was not my intention. I didn't clearly state what my intention was in the video in the first place either, and that's one of the reasons why I took the video down. So again, I apologize. So if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up and a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If not, let me know why you didn't like the video. I do read my comments and I do reply even to the nasty ones, but try to keep it clean. Also, if you want to communicate directly with me, I do have a Twitter account. It's by the same name as my YouTube account, just Morphologist. You're welcome to go there and have a chat with me sometime. And that's where I'm going to be posting information about my stream coming up next weekend. So go there and be sure to stay tuned for when I'm going to be doing that. Finally, I want to thank everybody who supported me on Patreon, because it wouldn't be possible for me to continue this channel without your support. I actually bought No Man's Sky with those funds. I did tell you I was going to let you know what I was going to do with it, and there we are. I'm being transparent. I bought No Man's Sky, so thanks again. All right, that's it, guys. I'll see you out there.